In this video, we're going to show you how to install the LED daytime running lamps on your S60. Some tools needed for this installation is a set of wire strippers, small metric sockets, some TORX bits, and a soft pry tool. Your kit includes 2 LED panels, 1 2-piece wiring harness, 1 control module, 1 fuse tap, 1 posi twist, 2 posi taps, 2 parking sensor port plugs, and possibly 1 inline fuse that is not needed. To begin, lift the hood and remove the headlight pods. Each pod is retained by 2 quick release pins. The light harness must be carefully disconnected from the car. It helps to have an assistant so you don't risk dropping the light. Once the harness is disconnected, set the light down in a safe place. To avoid marring the finish, use a soft pry tool to remove the factory panels from the bumper. If your car has parking sensors, pull upward on the colored clip to release the lock and then unplug the harness. If your car has no parking sensors, this kit comes with rubber plugs that cover the holes in the new lower grills. They are easily installed in the openings. For cars with parking sensors, the sensors will need to be removed from the original grills and installed in the new grills. The sensor is removed from the bezel by prying out the top and bottom of the bezel and pulling the sensor out the back. The factory sensors will snap into the new panels, but do not mix them since they are side specific. The main harness has a plug for each light panel and 2 plugs at the control module. The control module will install under the driver's side headlamp frame. This is where we begin our routing process. Route the short connector down under the headlight frame to the driver's side panel opening. The dual connector for the module can stay behind the headlight for now. The long harness connector will route across the top of the radiator to reach the passenger side. You may need to remove the hood cable clips for better access. After the harness is tucked across the top, reinstall the cable clips. Route the end of the harness down along the side of the headlight to reach the passenger side panel. Now you can connect and install both new light panels. Don't forget to reconnect the parking sensors if you have them. You can now reconnect and reinstall the passenger side headlight. Route the dual connector under the washer filler neck. Connect the dual matching panel plugs on the control module. The module can tuck down in the fender opening safely. The power harness plugs into the remaining connector on the control module. Make sure the harness goes behind the frame to avoid interfering with the headlight reinstallation. There may be extra harness, and it can be tucked down with the module. You will need to unwrap the harness directly behind the driver's headlamp connector by pulling off the tape and splitting the loom open. The signal connections for the control module will be made here. These signal connections supply information for the control module, but the main power and ground will be sourced later. When the control module is powered, the lights will operate at the brighter level. When the power is supplied to the blue wire, the LEDs will dim. When the power is supplied to the white wire, the LEDs will shut off. DOT regulations require the auxiliary lights to go out when the high beam is on. There are many possible configurations, but we will demonstrate the legal way to connect the LEDs. Using the supplied posi tap, connect the blue wire to the yellow and red wire in the headlight harness. This is a signal for the headlight low beam. The posi tap connector will allow the connection without cutting the wire. Posi taps are used when you need to tap into a wire without cutting. First, remove the base of the posi tap and position the channel around the sourced wire. Thread the posi tap back onto the base while piercing the wire. Unscrew the collar from the end of the posi tap. Feed the stripped wire end through the collar. Make sure the wire is protruding out the end of the collar. Screw the collar back onto the posi tap connector, safely securing the two wires together. Using another supplied posi tap connector, attach the white wire to the gray and brown wire in the headlight harness. This is a signal for the headlight high beam. We've used some electrical tape to protect the connections for durability. Remove fuse number 16 from the engine compartment fuse box. Install the supplied fuse tap in position 16. The fuse tap will allow you to source power for your LED lights without breaking into the factory power harness. We are placing the fuse tap in the headlamp control module location since this is appropriately switched for this application. Using a knife or a pair of side cutters, cut off a rubber cap to route the red wire out the side of the fuse box. Connect the red to red power wires using the supplied posi twist connector. Here we are holding a posi twist connector. Posi twist connectors are great when an inline connector is not needed to connect two wires. You simply unscrew the end of the posi twist. Once that is removed, you feed two stripped wires twisted together through the end of the cap. Make sure the wire is protruding out the end of the cap before screwing it to the posi connector. Screw the cap back onto the posi twist connector, safely securing the two wires together. Reinstall the driver's headlamp electrical connector as shown. Using a 10mm socket or wrench, connect the ground wire ring terminal to one of the chassis grounds shown here. Now is the best time to clean up your wiring before reconnecting and reinstalling the headlight and fuse box lid. After you've reinstalled the headlight, check the DRL function in the 3 positions before driving the car.